All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brett, and this is the Christian Rebel. I hope all of you are having a blessed day. So in today's video, I thought we'd play a little game that I saw in one of Jordan Peterson's videos, where he sat down with Dr. Arthur Brooks, and they played a game called What is Your Idol? So I thought we'd watch that video and play that same game so we can reveal what may our idol be. And so let's play this game together, and please comment below as we go through this game and mention what ultimately could be one of our idols. So let's watch this and get into it.
My students, it's called What's My Idol? This is what I one of the very first sessions of the class. What's my idol? Where I take them through a little bit of Aquinas. They read a little bit of Aquinas, and I say, look, this is the first modern, really great behavioral scientist. Is St. Thomas Aquinas, and it's don't read it for the religious parts. Let's read it.
Read Aquinas for the religious parts.
For the behavioral parts of this. And I say, okay, he says that the idols that you're going to chase are ultimately, there's going to be one that attracts you more than any other.
Yeah, right.
And that when you do, you'll always do the things that you later regret. That's the thing about it. Okay, and that's behavior.
That's what makes them idols.
I know.
Right. They beckon falsely in the present.
And that's very empirically robust. A very empirically robust assertion, of course. We know this from all the literature that, that when people chase these idols, that they're ultimately, they don't get what they wanted.
Right,
and
they're self-defeating.
They have a lot of regret.
Yeah.
So I say, okay, let's play a game. And the way to do this is not to say what's your idol, but to eliminate the ones that they're not your idol.
Okay.
You want to play?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So that is interesting. He's going to list a few things that could be your idol, and you get rid of the one that you don't think is your idol. And let's watch this video. It's very, and I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna take this test with you because I thought this is a neat test. There's one other YouTube video, one other YouTube channel did this already. That's Wise Disciple. I recommend you go watch him play the game too. But let's get into it.
So money, power, pleasure, honor. Mm-hmm. And honor is not what we say with my Marine children, which is to serve with honor. That means to be honored.
Yeah.
And so
the
that
narcissistic
means, so that means fame or what we have in academia, which is prestige. Mm-hmm. To walk in and people say, oh, it's Jordan Peterson who wrote that paper. Mm-hmm. That paper that got the award last year, whatever it happens to be. Mm-hmm. Or the admiration of strangers or the admiration of the right group of people, right? Mm-hmm. Which we want. It's your lobsters, right? That raises serotonin levels. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So think of those four. And then let's think of the one you would first eliminate, which doesn't mean you don't have it at all, but rather that you have the population mean level of it. So if you got rid of money, for example, you wouldn't be poor. You just have exactly the population mean amount of that. So you wouldn't be there would be no deprivation whatsoever. Money, power, pleasure, fame. Which one do you kick away?
Power.
Why?
I'm not interested in exerting control over others' voluntary actions.
So if I were to, you're the clinical psychologist and I'm just a working class economist, but I would say that the reason for that is because you hate when people have power over you.
So what is your first one? Money, power, honor, or pleasure? I think mine would be probably money, because I grew up dirt poor. My family didn't have a lot of money. I remember one Christmas, my dad came to us and says, we're not going to have a Christmas this year. We'd have no money. But so I would say money, because I can get by on very little. So money would be my first one. Let's continue. What is your first one?
Well, that's certainly an indication of the undesirability of power. That's my lived experience.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate being told what to do.
Not everybody hates that.
Yes, I understand.
People who really like power actually are not bothered that much when people have power over them, because it feels legitimate inherently. So it's kind of an interesting thing. So you find that totalitarians are pretty comfortable when they're in totalitarian systems. They would just like to be the totalitarian.
Right.
So dictators admire dictators.
Funny, I was just writing about exactly that this morning. It's like, well, this is part of our misunderstanding of totalitarian systems.
Yeah.
Everyone is striving to be free except the bully on the top. Like, no, it's bullies all the way down.
I know. Yeah. So that's okay. So then we've established that about you.
Yeah,
you kicked away power.
Yeah.
You got three left: money, pleasure, and honor. What's next?
Mine would be power.
Pleasure, probably. Pleasure. No, money, probably.
Money. Why?
Yeah.
So my second one would be, I said money and then power. I'm kind of right there with Dr. Jordan Peterson. I don't like to lord over people. I don't like to tell people what to do. I'm kind of have the same feelings. I'd rather just have you go do your job and then I'll go do mine. And if I was an employer that had people underneath me, I'd be doing the job with them. Say, hey guys, let's go work on this project together, and get some feedback from everyone. So, first one for me is money. Second one, power. What's your second one?
Taste is an excellent substitute for money. Like you're talking about the population mean of money.
Population mean of money.
If you're wise and discerning, that you're rich with that amount of money.
Yeah. And I would also postulate, correct me if I'm wrong, that given the fact that your material success, among other things, has taught you using your self-awareness as a behavioral scientist, that there's not that much nice stuff that you can get with money. It's really not that interesting.
Well, the big advantage to me of having money is that it opens up avenues of possibility. It makes some things easier.
Right.
Medical care.
It does.
But it opens up avenues.
Sources of unhappiness.
Yes. And it opens up avenues of adventure.
Right.
That would otherwise be impossible.
But they're not the things you care about the most.
Well, there's other ways of doing them.
Yeah.
There's other ways of doing them that are they equally valuable? Sufficiently so that was my second choice anyways.
The things that I love the most are not things you buy. If people say, if I could keep everything in a knapsack, I would be detached. And I say, no, I would still rent everything I want. The whole.
So I'm reminded of a Bible verse. I think it's the love of money is the root of all evil. So if you put money first, if money is your idol, you're going to want to buy everything. You're going to want to get everything. You're going to want to have as much money as you can. But you know what? All these things that we gather turn the dust. We can't take it with us. So if money is your top idol, mine's power. Money was first, power is second, and we're gonna get into my third one, which would be pleasure. But let's continue.
The point is that buying stuff is not that interesting.
Well, money is useful to me because it enables opportunity.
Right.
It's not particularly useful to me because I can buy stuff with it. I mean, I buy some things, but look, in a culture like ours, you can buy virtually everything you need for nothing if you pay attention.
I know.
Virtually everything is free. Food, maybe not. But
I have a whole lecture on how to buy happiness with money, and you have to go exactly against your limbic system. Why? Because your limbic system tells you to accumulate resources beyond what you need to show your evolutionary fitness, such that you can get more mates and propagate.
Right.
You need more buffalo jerky and animal and flints in your cave. Anyway, okay, so you got two left: pleasure and honor. Now it's hot in here because these are things that you like.
Yeah.
And this is normal.
Yeah.
But you've got to get rid of one and go to the population mean, which is a
pleasure, probably next.
Yeah. And now we've established what your temptation is. Now we've established that doesn't mean that you can't tame it, but you must know it. You must say to yourself, honor. When I do the wrong thing, it's because I pursue honor. By the way, I'm exactly like you. Why?
It's too bad for you.
Well, it's too bad for my wife and yours.
Yeah, and your wife. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's because, I hate people having power over me. I don't want to have power over others. I was a chief executive for 11 years. And the thing I hated was when people called me boss. It made me intensely uncomfortable. It made me feel embarrassed, even humiliated when people said boss, because I felt like they were setting up a hierarchy. It felt passive aggressive, even when it wasn't, because of this aversion.
Right.
Money. Okay, great.
Well, if you're someone's boss, it's not obvious who the slave is.
Right.
Right. Because if I have to tell you what to do, then I have to tell you what to do. Right. It's hard enough to get myself to do things, much less bother with you.
I know.
Maybe there's some temporary thrill in ordering people around, although it's not a thrill I've ever appreciated. No. But I'd rather that you did your own thing.
I hate dictatorships and wouldn't want to be the dictator. Bottom line, money. Okay, yeah. What? Yeah. It's pleasure. I'm a very self-disciplined person. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I work out for an hour, and it hurts every day before dawn.
How old are you?
60. And I'm in better health than when I was 30. And part of it is because I'm not a sensualist, because I can actually do that. I mean, I like feeling good, but it's not high on my list of priorities. You know what tempts me? This. That's what tempts me. And I know it's true. And I know I have that particular tendency, and that knowledge is power. Why? Because that knowledge is being stored in the episodic memory of my hippocampus, and it's accessible by my prefrontal cortex, and I can use it to manage my limbic system. And that's being fully alive. As far as I'm concerned, that's being fully alive. And when my students understand that, they can not just avoid errors, they can feel like they have control. They can feel like they have a sword and shield on their hero's journey. That's what this.
How do you get them to start envisioning their future pathway in a more multidimensional manner?
So, what do you guys think? The four are listed in this order: money. I get by with very little. Power. I wouldn't want to be a boss. I'd rather just, if I had a business, I'd rather just be me, myself, and I. But if I had people working for me, like I said, we'd be working on projects together. The third one is pleasure. I kind of agree with Dr. Brooks that I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I don't exercise, but I need to. But the first thing I do, I'm very rigid in this, is that I want to spend time with my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I open my Bible, I read it, and then I pray for people and those around me, and for this government and for this world. And my last one, this is my idol. It's honor. I was very introverted as a kid. I didn't get things that I needed from my father, a lot of praise or anything, because he wasn't around a lot. And my dad and I have talked about this, him not being around a lot, and I've forgiven him and love you, Dad. But honor is a tough one. When someone gives me praise, I kind of get a little bit of a, too big of a head for my shoulders, and I get prideful, and like Dr. Brooks said, the hand claps from people. And so honor is my idol. And I have to be careful of that. So when people give me praise, I try to put the focus back on Christ, because he's the one that gives you all your talents. He's the one that gave me all my talents. And I want to give praise to God for what he's done for me. So how do you rate your 4? Mine again is money, power, pleasure, and then my idol would be honor. So comment below. I'd like to hear hear what you guys went through going through this game. I got a Bible verse I want to share with you. It comes from Colossians chapter 3, verse 5. And this talks about idols. Put to death, therefore, whatever belongs to your earthly nature: sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed. Could those 4 things, honor, pleasure, money, and power, be included in these? Pleasure, sexual immorality, impurity, evil desires could be power, greed, money, which is idolatry. Put to death, therefore, whatever belongs to your earthly nature, sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed, which is idolatry. So what do you guys think about this little game that Dr. Brooks played with Dr. Jordan Peterson? I found it very interesting. I'm going to have a link in the description so you can watch the video if you want on your own. So please comment below on how the game went for you. Again, mine's money, power, pleasure, and the final one was honor. All right, guys. Love you. I'm praying for you. If you like good Christian content, please like, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification bell so you know when I have good content, more content come out. All right, guys. Be a rebel and follow Jesus. Always choose that narrow path. Until next time, you guys keep the faith.